But what about Ripple and XRP? Well, they're making moves too. So Ripple buys another company. They bought a custodian service earlier this year in May, Medico, for $250 million. That's a lot. But they just purchased another one, a controversial one, Fortress Trust. And when I first read this, I'm like, why does that sound so familiar, Fortress Trust? Now, this acquisition, they didn't release the sum. I'm guessing it's very small. And why does this sound so familiar? Well, because Prime Trust is also custodian. They're also a fiat on-ramp, off-ramp, really for institutions. They're almost like a small version of DCG, okay? Now, BitGo tried to buy them earlier this year. They pulled out, and then Prime Trust basically shut down. They halted their withdrawals and deposits, and a lot of companies that were using Prime Trust went belly up, right? So I thought this company already went bankrupt, but I guess they're still trying to sell, and Ripple decided to buy them for their infrastructure, right? So I'm guessing they bought them for pennies on the dollar at this point, right? But it does show that Ripple is serious about expanding, right? After this lawsuit, I mean, they still have a lawsuit with the SEC, and I'll get to that a little bit. But after XRP was deemed a non-security, now they have all the confidence in the world, right? Not only for themselves, but everyone else that's been telling Ripple, I don't know if I could get involved with XRP. Now they're willing to, because it's a non-security, right? So it does seem like Ripple's making a lot of moves for XRP, besides trying to use it as a bridge currency. But they're trying to add in custodian services, wallet services, DeFi, metaverses. I mean, they're trying to make a full-fledged L1, basically. So overall, that's pretty good. But going back to that lawsuit, well, we know that SEC has not dropped their lawsuit against Ripple itself. They're trying to appeal the decision that the Judge Torres made in terms of their program sales. Like somehow that was legal. It's illegal token sales, and the judge said no, it's not, right? But the SEC is trying to appeal that decision, and the SEC is countering. But here's the thing. SEC also just accused Ripple of slowing down the lawsuit so they could sell more XRP, which is really funny because we know SEC moves like a snail. They purposely do this on purpose to basically slowly bleed out the companies that they sue. This is their playbook. This is their tactic. That's why a lot of these lawsuits take years. And then by then, for example, in the case of Library, they just said, okay, even though we won, we really lost because we're bankrupt. I mean, so this is funny that SEC is now trying to use this against Ripple, saying Ripple slowed things down on purpose. Ripple's been the one that's been trying. Ripple, first of all, never wanted to be sued. And second of all, they're the ones that kept asking for the Hyman docs to be released, which the SEC fought tooth and nail and appealed, right? And there's so many other parts to this. So it's funny that the SEC now and Gary Gensler, they're so desperate to come up with excuses to appeal and to try to win. Now they're using their own playbook as a defense, which makes no sense at all. Well, there are some exciting things. Coinbase Ventures specifically, they have invested in 6 projects. They said they have 800 projects that want to come on board to their new L2 called Base. But they have invested in 6 projects, and to be quite honest, this chain has started out better than I expected. I think better than anyone expected. They now have 441 million value bridged in, which is a lot. It puts them in the top 5 of TVL locked in of any chain. So it's up there already. I don't know about top 5, top 10. But still, there's an enormous amount of because of Coinbase, I think, because of the name recognition. There's an enormous amount of project that wants to move aboard. And the beauty is this helps ETH. Everything conducted, all the gas fees on Coinbase, Coinbase's base, it's weird to say that, is done with ETH. So there's no new token. You can't invest in it. But the good thing about that is you don't have to worry about paying gas fees with something else, right? You just have to worry about bridging over your ETH. That's it. But yeah, they're doing quite well. Also, the fair value, actually, according to this analyst, is $47,000 as of right now. This is not the future. Based on this metric, it should be at $47,000, which is Bitcoin's energy value. So one of the arguments against Bitcoin is that it's not backed by anything. But the thing is, most people that ask that do not realize that Bitcoin takes an enormous amount of energy and money to mine. So it is backed by something. It's backed by energy. Without energy, without power, you couldn't mine a Bitcoin. You can't just create it out of thin air. You need to spend that money. So there's a couple metrics that revolve around this. You have just the floor electrical cost, which is right around like $21,000, $22,000. Okay. So you have that, but then you also have a calculation, the energy value, okay, which takes into more things into account, right? But if you look at it between the green and blue, you basically have like an upper range and lower range, right? And of course, there are many times during the parabolic runs where Bitcoin's price is actually above the energy value. Like back in 2021, you clearly see it broke above that green line. But right now, we're definitely below, and we're hovering right in between the electrical cost and the fair energy value cost, which is the fair value, right? So it's like somewhere in between. You almost look at like one of our indicators, one of our moving averages indicator where you have a top and bottom, it's kind of like that. But I think this is one measurement, one metric, I think when it comes to electricity or energy, okay, I don't think a lot of people pay attention to this, but the miners are paying enormous amounts of money, okay, at infrastructure, at personnel, at electricity to be able to generate these Bitcoins, okay, that they do. But the good news is the more miners, the more hash rate, the better it is for Bitcoin. The network is more secure and more unhackable and more decentralized. Okay, it's virtually impossible to hack Bitcoin's network at this point in time. You just couldn't do it. And of course, the fundamentals keeps on going up. For example, number of addresses, not holding 1 Bitcoin, 0.1 Bitcoin, all-time high. 1 Bitcoin, all-time high. 10, all-time high. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you go down to 0.01, all-time high. People keep loading up and stocking up. They know this is a time, right? Supply last active 3+ year, all-time high. People that's been holding for 3 years, all-time high. If you go down to 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7 year, all-time high. These retail investors are not that stupid. Not like, BlackRock and these guys, they think retail is all dummies, right? But Bitcoin is the one industry, the one investment where the retail investors led the way. They're coming in. They're trying to play catch up. I mean, the institutions, right? We led the way. We were in here before they. But the unfortunate thing is they have all the big money that's waiting to come in, and they may be playing some games right now, right, to try to scare retail investors away. And this is definitely not the time to be scared away. This is the time to be more aggressive, more bullish, because things are about to go down in a big way in the near future, right? All right, so that's Bitcoin.